Hello and welcome to Cody's Radio Workshop. It's been a little while, these lockdown times are pretty strange, aren't they? On the bench I have a Roberts Revival R250. This has been sent in from a fellow YouTuber with the report that it doesn't work. Now, this might be a long video, it might be a short video. I have a power supply. Let's have a look at plugging it in. Make sure the set's off. Putting the power supply switch on. Dead as a dodo. Usually that speaks volumes to me that either the audio IC is toast, or the capacitors are toast, or the capacitors and the IC are toast. So, need to take it apart. 2 shoulder screws, one there, and one there. It's been a while actually since I've done a R250. With these lockdown times, the radios I used to enjoy buying aren't currently available. I don't think people are selling them. I think they're prioritising what they do, and quite rightly too. We should all be staying in and keeping safe. It's allowed me the time, this lockdown, to get to somewhere near the middle of my round to it pile. Take out the shoulder board, pop that on one side. Love popping stuff on one side. And take the radio out. Looking round at the other side, can't see anything immediately obvious that would scream blown capacitors or faulty capacitors, but the audio IC, which is the TDA7231 there, yep, nothing appears outwardly wrong with it. I'll disconnect the speaker, take off the power lead, and there we have the radio. Now what I'll need to do is fire up the desolderer, and we'll be taking out the 1000 UF 1000 microfarad capacitor, the 470 capacitor, and the TDA7231, which is the audio integrated circuit, because they are the usual suspects when a set has been plugged in using the wrong power supply. It's more commonly known as reversed polarity, because the centre pin on the jack plug on quite a lot of Roberts sets, I won't say it all because there's obviously going to be the odd one or two that the other way around, but the DC jack socket, the very centre pin that you can possibly see in the middle of there, just shiny there, that centre pin should be negative power supply. So when you get the jack plug, the middle of it should be the negative and the outer should be positive. Not everybody realises that because it's not highlighted on the back of the case or on a sticker or anywhere obvious. I think that it was a shrewd marketing move or a shrewd business move by Roberts, because if people did this to their sets, then they would get the repair work in. And because it was a bespoke power supply with a centre pin negative, which wasn't common, you could only buy them from Roberts if you wanted one for your Roberts set. So anyway, I digress. We are almost ready with the desolderer, and we'll take out the 470 and the 1000 and we'll test those first. The TDA7231, that will be coming out just as a matter of course, and I'll put in a brand new one anyway. So I'm just going to pause until I get those things ready, and I will be back very shortly. Got a little tangle on some wires going on here. Move those out of the way. Right, so first off we'll get the two caps. With those ready to pull out. There's the 470. Doesn't look especially bad. Put that on one side. What I will do, just put a mark on the board for the Polarity. It's been a while since I've done one of these. I don't want to absent-mindedly pop one in the wrong way around. Yeah, this one's overheated. I can tell by the print on the capacitor. This is the 1000, and this is, it's not a brand I've actually ever seen in a Robert set before. I don't know if that'll pick up on focus. Acon. Nevertheless, we'll get the new ones in. There we go. Some flux on the job just to make things easier and faster. So that's those two capacitors done. Just not sitting very nicely, so I'll just tidy that up. Not absolutely necessary, but I wouldn't sleep at night if they weren't tidy. There we go. And we'll chop the legs off. The 1000 microfarad cap that I've just taken out, as I say, the print is pretty well worn away, so that has got up to temperature. It's an 85-degree cap. I mean, these things should never come anywhere near that anyway, but obviously when they're just about to blow their tops, they might get a little bit warm. So that is that, and now we're going to take out the audio IC, which is here, which is the TDA7231. Excellent. So now get the toothpick and try and lift this away from the board, because it does have the horrible, nasty glue that they use to stick things down to the board, which over time can also become conductive when it breaks down, which is not so good. Just got the one leg there that doesn't want to free itself. Got some heat on it again. Now, when I put the new chip in, this is a dip 8 socket, which I tend to put back in when I do these sort of repairs, and if anybody in the future manages to do the same thing again with the Polarity, it's a lot easier to change the chip over because you can just slide it out. My hands are starting to shake again. It's a medical thing that I have no control over, but it does annoy me because when it gets really bad I can't do what I like to do, and that is sit at the bench and do soldering. Just changing the pitch just by pressing on the side of the chip to get the pins closer together so they'll sit into that dip socket, and now I'm just pressing, not very successfully, the IC in. There we go, that's now in. So we should be able to do a power up test to make sure that it now powers up. I'll not be putting it completely back together because I will be doing other things to this board as well, just giving it an overall service before it goes back to its owner. So that's it in, just making sure that nothing is shorted out. I'll get my power supply. What I'm actually going to do is run it as if it were a battery. I'll get my current limited power supply on the leads, making sure that's switched off. We're back, and I've got the set hooked up to an external speaker. I've got the current limited power supply on, and we're almost ready to give it a switch on. I'm just going to give a quick recap. What I've done thus far is I've changed the 1000 microfarad capacitor at the back. I've changed the 470 microfarad capacitor at the front there. I've checked but not changed because that capacitor was okay. The 100 microfarad at 10 volts at the back, that's okay, so I've put that one back in. And I've changed the TDA7231 audio IC and put it in on a dip socket, so if anything like this happens again in the future, we should just be able to pop that chip out really easily and replace the chip without any soldering. So that's what I've done, and I'm just about to give it a test.
I was looking at some of the boys.
Dirty wave change switch on the medium wave, so they'll need a clean as well.
By customers, i.e. the fans.
The same on long wave. Give those a clean now. Just switch the set off, get the switch cleaner, and probably best actually to do this from the top. So just going to pull the buttons off. And drizzle some switch cleaner down. Not a lot. Just enough to get into the switch, and then give the switch bank a mash, and that should restore the electrical contact inside the switches. Do the tone switch as well. Let's give that a go now. Much better.
Four.
There we go, all done. I will strip this and give it a clean. We've got the obligatory paint spatter on there. I'll get in touch with the owner and make sure that he wants me to do that. It might have some sentimental value as it is, so I don't want to clear that away unnecessarily. If he wants to leave it like that, we'll leave it like that, but I'm quite happy to give it all a clean and make it as good as it can be. There's the obligatory paint spatter here on the case itself, decorator's radio, at some point in its life. So yeah, we'll disconnect everything and then we'll put it all back into the case and we'll give it a final test in the case as it should be. And then I might have to take it all completely to pieces again to give it a clean, but that's not a problem. It's a relatively straightforward thing to do. Right, so I connect the speaker wires up first. Notice that the speaker's just a tiny bit on the loose side, so that'll need a tighten up as well. Put the shoulder board back in, making sure I don't trap the aerial wire underneath like I did the last time I did one of these. And the aerial, wherever I've put that, where have I put the aerial? I've lost the aerial. There's the aerial. The live, no edits. Get the aerial screw back in, poke that back through, get the cleat over the top of the screw. I know you can't really see on this video exactly what I'm doing, but I've done these radios a lot. If you have a look through the rest of my YouTube channel, I've done a lot of the R250 on video. They are relatively... oh, I've forgotten to put the power lead back on. I should be able to do that. A lot easier to do before you put the radio back in. And pop that into the side there. The shoulder screws. As I say, I will be getting in touch with the owner about cleaning the case, making it look perhaps a little better, but only if he wants me to do that. Sentiment has a lot to do with older radios. They might just like it as it is. So that's it, back together. Now, before I power test that in the case, we've already proved it works, but I just want to make sure that everything's okay with it, and I've not tested the actual speaker that's inside there. We'll test these capacitors that I've just taken out. Let's see if you might be able to see. You will probably if you're on a big screen. This is the 470 microfarad, and that's 524. It's not a bus ride out, it's not so far away from where it should be. And this is the 1000 microfarad, it's dropped a little. It's 859. So that is out, and we changed the TDA7231 audio IC, the 8-pin chip. I checked the 100 microfarad capacitor, that was alright, so I'll put that one back in. Right, get the Roberts power lead, centre pin negative, there we go, she's done. Aside from the cleaning, it's done. I will get in touch with the owner, like I say. Thank you very much for sending that in. I've enjoyed getting back to doing a Roberts Revival R250 with the reverse polarity issue. Thanks very much for watching. If you've liked what you've seen, hit the thumbs up button. If you have definitely liked what you've seen and you're not a subscriber, subscribe. It all matters. I do these videos mainly for me, for fun and education, but if you've learned something and you like it, let me know. Thanks very much for watching. I will catch you in the next one.